everyone. Today I will discuss to you the three major theories of persuasion and the three types of persuasive speeches. Now let's begin with the three theories of persuasion. Let's first start with the social judgment theory. The roots of social judgment theory lie in the psychological research of Egon Brunswick, who studied how individuals react to unfamiliar environments. He introduced the lens model, which focuses on how people use social cues to make judgments. Building on Brunswick's work, Caroline Sheriff, Muzaffar Sharif, and Roger Nebergall developed social judgment theory to explain differences in human interaction and influence. This theory emphasizes three key factors. The first one is the anchor, an individual's belief or existing attitude toward the topic. And we have the alternatives, which are the other possible positions, and the ego involvement, the degree to how invested one is towards an issue. Social judgment theory explains how people interpret messages based on their existing attitudes or frame of mind, and why some messages are accepted while others are rejected. Next, we have the cognitive dissonance theory. This theory, explained by Leon Festinger in 1957, centers around the human desire for cognitive consistency, meaning people want their attitudes to align with their actions in order to feel comfortable. Festinger likened cognitive dissonance to a state of discomfort such as hunger, which motivates activity to reduce the discomfort. When people experience inconsistency between their beliefs and actions, they are motivated to reduce this tension by changing either their beliefs or behaviors. In persuasion, cognitive dissonance occurs when an audience is encouraged to act contrary to their original beliefs, and then seeks to resolve the discomfort caused by this contradiction. Thirdly, we have the elaboration likelihood model, developed in the early 1980s by Richard Benny and John Kashoggi. This model explains how people process information depending on their level of elaboration or thoughtful analysis when presented with a message. Central processing involves high elaboration, where the audience deeply analyzes the content and logic of the message. Meanwhile, peripheral root processing involves low elaboration, where the audience may be distracted, focusing on superficial cues rather than the message or the content. The model suggests that persuasion is more enduring when the central root is used, whereas peripheral root processing often leads to temporary attitude changes. Next, we have the three types of persuasive speech. Let's look at the questions of fact. These speeches focus on whether something is true or false, supported by evidence. Unlike simple facts, such topics have evidence for both sides and involve debate. For example, does waking up early improve focus? Is a question of fact that requires supporting evidence. The goal is to establish truth based on evidence. Next, we have the questions of value. These speeches address the worthiness or morality of something, whether is it right or wrong, good or bad. They require setting criteria by which values are judged. For example, is being vegan better than eating meat? Prompts us to define better and evaluate evidence accordingly. These speeches assess the comparative value of ideas or actions. Next, we have the questions of policy. Questions of policy focus on what course of action should be taken and often involve legislative or practical solutions. These speeches stem from both factual and value considerations and push for action. For example, should the current memorandum be abolished? Requires analysis of the memorandum's content, purpose, and reasons for abolition before calling for specific policy change. In summary, these theories help us understand how persuasion works psychologically, while the speech types guide us in structuring persuasive communication logically and effectively. That will be all for this discussion. Thank you very much